All right, let's talk about Social Security. If you've seen any of those scary headlines, you've probably felt that little knot of anxiety in your stomach. Is the whole system really just going to go broke? Today, we're going to cut through all that noise. We're going to break down what's actually happening and separate the real facts from the fear. So let's just dive right in. There's this old saying about pouring water into a bottomless jar. It's this perfect picture of a pointless task, right? You're putting in all this effort for, well, absolutely nothing. And honestly, for a lot of people, that's what paying into Social Security feels like these days. So, is that really where we're at? Has it become a system where the money you put in just kind of vanishes with no real promise of it ever coming back to you? That is the big question, and we are going to get to the bottom of it. Okay, first things first, we need to understand this timeline that everybody's talking about. What do all those scary dates you see in the news actually mean? This is the big one, the year 2034. You see it everywhere. Now, according to the government's latest report, the Social Security trust funds, which are basically a rainy day fund to cover any gaps, are projected to be used up by around that year. Now, that sounds like falling off a cliff, but I promise you, it's not what you think. Let's be really clear on this, because it's the most important piece of the puzzle. The phrase running out of money is super misleading. It does not mean that checks just stop coming. All it means is that the system's reserve savings account will be empty. After that point, Social Security can only pay out what it takes in from the taxes of people who are currently working. And how much is that exactly? Well, the projections show that even with the trust funds empty, the money coming in from payroll taxes will still be enough to cover about 77% of all the benefits that have been promised. So see, it's not a complete collapse to zero, it's a projected shortfall of about 23%. So let's turn that percentage into actual dollars. Something we can feel. Imagine you were expecting a $2,000 monthly check. Well, if nothing changes, that check would be reduced to around $1,540. Now, don't get me wrong, that is a huge, significant hit. But it's a very long way from your benefit check disappearing entirely. Okay, so that covers the what and the when, but why? Why is this happening? How did we even get to this point? Let's unpack the real reasons the system is feeling the squeeze. A lot of people just assume this is a story about government waste or that the money has been mismanaged. But the real reason is actually a lot less dramatic, and it has everything to do with how the system was designed from day one. We have got to bust the single biggest myth about Social Security right now. The taxes you pay do not go into some personal savings account with your name on it, just waiting for you. That's not how it works. In reality, the money you pay in today gets turned right around and used to pay the benefits for people who are retired right now. It's a pay-as-you-go system, basically a direct money transfer from one generation to the next. And that pay-as-you-go model is now getting hit by a kind of perfect storm of three huge demographic trends. First, birth rates are way down, which means fewer workers are paying into the system for every one person taking money out. Second, you have this massive wave of baby boomers who are all retiring. And third, we're all living longer, which is great, but it means people are collecting benefits for way more years than the system was ever designed to handle. I know, this all sounds pretty grim. But here's the thing, the situation is absolutely not hopeless. So let's shift gears from the problem to the solutions. Lawmakers have seen this coming for decades, and there's actually a pretty clear menu of options on the table to fix it. Here's the good news. From a pure math standpoint, this is a solvable problem. It's not some big mystery. It's just a matter of making some adjustments, pulling different policy levers, if you will, to get the system's finances back on track. The real challenge isn't figuring out what to do. It's finding the political courage to actually do it. So what are these levers they could pull? Well, one idea is to gradually raise the full retirement age, since we're all living and working longer anyway. Another is to make high earners pay Social Security taxes on more of their income. A third option is to tweak the formula they use for the yearly cost of living raises. The final solution is probably going to be some mix and match combination of these ideas. So, we've gone through the timeline, the causes, and the potential fixes. Let's boil this all down now into the most important takeaways, the stuff you really need to remember from all this. Okay, quick recap. First, running out of money means a benefit reduction, not zero. Got it? Second, this whole thing is being driven by big, slow-moving demographic changes, not because someone messed up. Third, and this is the hopeful part, there are clear solutions on the table. It just takes political action. And finally, what this all means for you personally is that your own planning, especially your decision on when to start taking your benefits, is more important than it has ever been. So, at the end of the day, the future of Social Security isn't some complex math equation we're waiting for a genius to solve. It's a set of choices that we as a country need to make. The real question isn't if the system will be there, because it will be in some form. The real question is, what do we want it to look like for our kids and grandkids? What kind of system do we want to build for the next generation?